I was just as excited as anyone else for the upcoming Pokemon games, X and Y. My eyes had been on Pokemon X ever since I first saw the legendaries revealed. The days were counting down and I couldn't wait for the midnight release. September 12th came around and it was a typical school day. I had just gotten home and was working on some videos that I was going to upload later that day. All of a sudden, my phone started ringing and vibrating at the same time, which was weird because that wasn't the setting I had it on. Even stranger, the tone wasn't any sound I heard on my phone before. I checked the number and it was unknown, so as usual I just ignored it. Several times after that, the same number tried to call me, and finally, out of frustration, I answered. Yes, hello, who's trying to get a hold of me so badly? As soon as I answered, my body turned cold, as if someone had just frozen all the blood in my body. This is John, correct? The voice on the other end asked. His tone was almost a smirk, though it was probably just my mind playing tricks on me. After a short pause, I replied, Yes, it is. May I ask who's calling? My name is Malik. I work at GameStop. We noticed you had already pre-ordered Pokemon X, is that correct? I let out a sigh of relief, feeling much better. Yes, I had pre-ordered it a while ago. Why, is there a problem with my pre-order? The voice didn't reply right away. In fact, it sounded as if he was laughing quietly in the background. He finally replied, No, not at all. In fact, we have some good news for you. Today is your lucky day. You have been chosen to receive Pokemon X today as a promotional gift. Please come to our store on Haymavet Street and pick it up this afternoon. Haymavet Street? But I pre-ordered my game at the GameStop in... Click! But before I could finish, there was a loud click in my ear and he was gone. I sat there for a moment confused. Why does the name Malik sound so familiar? It's definitely not a typical name. And why would my game be moved into a different location? Maybe it's closer, or there was a technical problem. Oh well, how could I complain when I was getting Pokemon X today? I decided not to think about it. I grabbed my phone and typed in Haymavet Street. The map showed a town in the middle of nowhere, but it was pretty close to the stores I usually shop at. It was kind of strange because I'd never heard of it. Even the storm raging outside couldn't stop me from heading out to grab the new game. I threw on my raincoat and headed into town. It was raining more so than usual, even for Seattle at this time of year, but none of that really mattered. I would be the first person in the city, heck, even the country, to get this game. I crossed the walkway towards where my phone said the GameStop was, and looked around. I saw nothing but the rain pouring sideways through the light of a streetlight. My phone started going nuts. I couldn't make out the map anymore. Suddenly I looked up and saw two bright lights getting bigger and bigger as if they were coming straight at me. I screamed and closed my eyes. There was a bright flash and a huge crack of thunder. And then there was nothing. No sound. I slowly opened my eyes and noticed the rain had completely stopped. In fact, the clouds had mostly gone. It was only gloomy, like the world had turned black and white. My phone beeped and said I had arrived at my destination. I looked up and saw the GameStop, or at least I think it was a GameStop. The G was falling off and the building looked like it was completely abandoned. I was beyond the point of uneasiness anymore. My stomach was turning. My head was pounding. What just happened? Oh well, at least I found the place I was looking for. I decided I'll just run in, grab the game, and run home. I stepped carefully into the store and looked around. There was no one in sight. Hello? I wanted to call out louder, but I had a terrible feeling in my gut as if someone was watching me. I walked over to the counter and noticed there was a copy of Pokemon X sitting there. Even more strange than that, next to the game there was a note that said, "Congratulations, you have been chosen," and a picture of me with an X on it. Without even taking a second thought, I grabbed the game and walked out. I ran inside my house, yelled, "I'm home," at my mom with no reply, and went into my room. Here it is. Pokemon X was in my hands a month before anyone else would get it. I was so excited I couldn't take it anymore. I opened the packaging, popped the cartridge into my 3DS, and turned it on. Here we go, I thought. The game started like a typical Pokemon game. "Welcome to the world of Pokemon," the professor announced. "Please tell me a little bit more about yourself. What is your name?" I grabbed my stylus and went to type in the J, but in the blank spaces above it, the name John was already typed in. I was confused, but decided to hit OK and go on with it. "Oh," said the professor. "Welcome back, John. We've been expecting you. Would you like to return to your save file? I sat there just staring at the words on the screen. My save file? But I've never even touched this game before. How could I possibly have a save file? I don't know if it was out of curiosity or fear that led me to click yes, but I did. Great, said the professor. Let's get started. The screen went black. There was a flash of light on the screen, and then the words "no more" popped up, then disappeared. If I had blinked, I would have not noticed it. The game started in a very dark town. I figured it was night in the game as well as in real life, so I didn't think anything of it. I was amazed by the 3D effects of Pokemon X. It felt so great to run around in the game. I tried running in the grass for a few minutes, but no Pokemon ever showed up. I was confused, so I went to the Pokemon Center. No one was in there except Nurse Joy, as always. I decided to check my Pokemon before I did anything else. All I had was a Chespin named Sorry, with only 1 HP. His sprite was sad looking, nothing I had ever seen in a Pokemon game before. I figured they changed the moods of the Pokemon if they were upset or hungry, so I went to go heal him. I clicked on Nurse Joy. In the bubble above her, she said, "Hello, welcome to the Pokemon Center. Would you like me to heal your hurt Pokemon?" I clicked yes. Her response was chilling. "I'm sorry, it's too late for that." Okay, something was definitely going on. Sure, I put it off too long now, but someone was playing a prank on me or something. There was no way this game was real. But just then, as if the game itself read my mind, Nurse Joy replied, "Nothing is real for you anymore." Her eyes had changed a blood red and her hair was black as coal. I threw my 3DS at the bed and stood up. "Okay," I said, "this is not funny anymore. Who's doing this?" There was a beeping sound from my 3DS. It had fallen down the side of my bed and was underneath it now. The beeping grew louder, until I couldn't take it anymore. I slowly walked over to my bed and knelt down beside it. I reached under and grabbed my 3DS, but my hand felt something thin, like paper. I grabbed it and pulled it out. It was the picture of me with the X through it I had left at the GameStop. My eyes were gouged out, and I looked sad, the exact expression my Chespin had in the game. I didn't know what was going on. I ran out of my room, shut the door, and called for my mom. She didn't reply, so I ran through the house to find her. I was so relieved to see her in the kitchen talking on the phone. "Oh my God, Mom, you won't believe what happened. I got Pokemon X today, and..." Just then I noticed my mom was crying as she was talking. She was saying something like, No, this can't happen. This couldn't have happened. How? When? Please, not my little boy." I went over to see who she was talking to. Mom, are you okay? I'm right here." I went to place my hand on her shoulder and it passed right through her. What's going on? Mom! Mom! I screamed at her, but it was as if she couldn't hear me. I started to back away slowly. What could be happening? Am I not really here? I ran outside. The black and white world had become even more gray. I ran back to the place where the GameStop was, but I couldn't cross the street. There was a roadblock and cops everywhere telling people to back up, to give them some space. I slowly walked towards the commotion. The cops didn't seem to notice me, so I just walked right past them. I looked in complete shock. My body was there, laying in a puddle of blood. I felt lightheaded. How could this happen? Instantly, my life was flashing before my eyes. I noticed myself at school, learning about different religions, and the name Malik came into mind. Malik Haymavet, the angel of death. This had been planned all along. It was my time. I had been chosen. All of a sudden, it was as if the world was filled with the Pokemon Center music. It was almost relaxing in a strange way. I looked up and everyone was gone. There was only grass. But it didn't look normal. It was almost pixelated. I tried to move, but I couldn't. I couldn't even turn. I just stood there in the grass on a pathway. There were other people in the distance standing like I was. I called to them, Hey, what's going on here? Does anyone know where we are?" A boy called back, "Of course. You've been chosen. You, just like the rest of us, are in the game." "The game? You mean Pokemon X?" "Yes, we have been chosen. We are in the game. Forever. Suddenly my phone beeped. I looked down at it and it said, "You have reached your destination."